Mr. Chairman, host and executive director of the Brian Ruben Organization and Project, Dr. Brian, colleague speakers from Kenya, India, Egypt, Nigeria, and Ghana, fellow colleague youth from Africa and around the world, distinguished invited guests, all other protocol duly observed, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply grateful to the organizers for the kind invitation extended to me, not only to be part of this African Youth Global Summit event, but also share my thoughts with our African youth participants as one of the speakers under the Brian Ruben project. Mr. Chairman, I wish first of all to commend the host of the event, Dr. Brian Ruben, for this wonderful leadership and entrepreneurship program, aimed among other things at inspiring and empowering African undergraduates with the required capacity to become impact makers on the continent through business training, technology tools, and information. It is very instructive to also note that this mission is to support 5 million undergraduates in Africa to build successful business that will transform the economy of Africa within the next 5 years through the required knowledge, tools, and skills needed to compete effectively in the global community. Mr. Chairman, the president of Coca-Cola in charge of Central, East, and West Africa, Kelvin Balogun, said on April 1st, 2016, that almost half of the 10 million graduates churn out every year of the over 668 universities in Africa do not get jobs. Speaking at the 2016 African Transformation Forum in Kigali, Rwanda, Mr. Balogun said, it was time the private sector worked with government to bring this canker to an end, saying, we need to build our human capital to bring about the development of Africa. Mr. Chairman, according to a United Nations UN report released in 2014, there was 1.8 billion young people in the world between the ages of 10 and 24. In India, the report said, topped the list as the country with the world's largest youth population of 356 million young people. Interestingly and sadly, however, 9 out of the 10 of the world's young population live in less developed countries. In Africa, the number of youth is growing rapidly. In 2015, 226 million youth aged 15 to 24 live in Africa, accounting for 19% of the global youth population. By 2030, it is projected that the number of youth in Africa would have increased by 42%. The figures also shows that almost 60% of Africa's population is under the age of 25, making Africa the world's youngest continent, attributed to high fertility rate coupled with declined child mortality. Mr. Chairman, our distinguished youth in this summit, ladies and gentlemen, the figures quoted above are only indicated of the important role of the youth, not only in the development of Africa continent, but also at the global level. We cannot afford to remain behind as a continent when the issues of globalization are not exclusive of Africa and its people, with all the riches bestowed on us, including the huge human resources base we have in Africa. Mr. Chairman, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, of the global goals for that matter, as adopted by the UN in 2015, continue to remain as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, and all sundry enjoy peace and prosperity. The 17 global SDGs are integrated. They recognize that an action in one area will affect outcome in other areas, and that development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability. SDG goals 4 and 8, which concerns themselves with quality education as well as decent work and economic growth respectively, fit appropriately into the broad objectives of this Global Youth Summit under the Brian Ruben Project. Achieving inclusive and quality education for all under SDG 4 reaffirms the belief that education is one of the most powerful and proven vehicles for sustainable development. These goals aim, among others, at providing equal access to affordable vocational training, eliminate gender and wealth disparities, and also achieve universal access to quality higher education. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, youth unemployment continues to be a major headache for governments around the world, not including those the African continent or those on the African continent, and in my country as a whole. The global goals also affirm this position, particularly SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. According to the UN, Mr. Chairman, over 2 billion workers were in informal employment in 2016, accounting to 61% of the world workforce. An estimated 172 million people worldwide were without work in 2018, representing an unemployment rate of 5%. The UN also said some 700 million workers live in extreme or moderate poverty in 2018, with less than 3.20 US dollars per day. According to the International Labour Organization, ILO, more than 204 million people were unemployed in 2015. The SDG 8, among other things, encourages entrepreneurship and job creation as the key, in addition to effective measure to eradicate forced labor, slavery, and human trafficking. With this target in mind, the goal is to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men by 2030. Mr. Chairman, my colleague African youth from around the world, the challenges posed today by the global SDGs are indeed immense and enormous. Like Dr. Brian Ruben seek to achieve for the youth, creating jobs, sustaining growth, and eradicating poverty demands a restructuring of our mental framework and paradigm shift from the old way of doing things. I am extremely happy that the summit involved keynote presentation, panel discussions, and idea analysis by the participants. I am also glad that the youth are involved in the hands-on workshop where they learn to resolve conflict, manage projects and life, and also engage in effective communication among their peers. I am equally excited that participants with outstanding ideas are rewarded with mentorship as well as training and funding to enable them begin some career development for themselves. I wish to laud the Brian Ruben Project for the participation or for the partnership with individuals, corporate organizations, and governments around the world in order to imbibe entrepreneurial skills and knowledge among the youth of the continent and beyond. It is intriguing to note that the youth participating in this virtual global youth summit have hundreds of role models they can learn from across the continent of Africa. Mr. Chairman, Forbes is a global media company focusing on business, investing, technology, entrepreneurship, leadership, and lifestyle. One of its journalists, Kerry Dolan, in 2016 released a report in which the annual list of Africa's most promising entrepreneurs was published. What was or is significant about this research was that these great entrepreneurs were all aged below 30 years. Hence, they report that Africa 30 under 30. This, no doubt, is one of the best the continent of Africa has to offer its people and the world at large. Some of these great entrepreneurs include Isaac Obe, 26, from Uganda, founder Media 256 Video Production. David Asiema, 28, from Ghana, my country, founder Agro Mindset. Alex Murio, 29, from Kenya, founder Farm Capital Africa. Andrew Mupuya, 24, from Uganda, founder Yearly Paper Bags Limited. And Sia Bayile, 22, from South Africa, founder The Threaded Man. These successful young entrepreneurs should serve as an inspiration for our participants who are benefiting from this summit. Mr. Chairman, the role of the youth in the sociocultural and economic development of their respective countries in particular and Africa as a whole cannot be overemphasized. For the youth to achieve and realize their vision and God-given talent, there is the need for other stakeholders and African government to continue to invest in the development of the youth, thereby creating better opportunities for them to unearth and develop their talent, skills, and knowledge. Ghana's first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, declared on the country's eve of independence on 6 March 1957, among other things, that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the entire Africa continent. The youth at this summit must see themselves as one people with a common destiny, as these past leaders such as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Felix Houphouët-Boigny of Ivory Coast, Ahmed Sékou Touré of Guinea, Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, as well as Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia sought to do: preach and nurture in their peoples and countries during the struggle for the independence of their respective nations. The challenge confronting the development of the youth today are enormous. I am happy Dr. Brian Ruben is in full collaboration with the corporate space so as to create the needed opportunities for the young generation to practice their skills and knowledge. I humbly urge corporate Africa to equally commit more resources to groom the youth to be able to adequately fit into the world of work. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, watching me all over the world, the values and the virtues of old school or of old, such as discipline, respect for the elderly, community, service, decency in conduct, speech, and behavior have all been thrown to the dogs in a recent time. And some of the youth call it old school. This lost value due to some negative foreign culture influences have given rise to drug addiction and abuse, child trafficking, disrespect for the elderly, as well as all manner of corrupt practices among the youth who are expected to be the future leaders. The sad situation must change if Africa must regain its lost glory through its rich culture, values, virtues, and traditions. Yes, it is our culture. It is our tradition. We must remain focused and pick it back and make good use of it for this continent to be saved. Networking, Mr. Chairman, is key for the success of any business activity. I therefore wish to urge the participants in this Global Youth Summit to network among themselves. This way, they can continue to share more ideas beyond the summit in order to improve their lot in the various fields of endeavor. Even though the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the use of the virtual technology for the summit, there are still opportunities by the same technology to remain together, united and connected as youth of Africa. Mr. Chairman, as a youth leader myself and the consul or the honorary consul of the Republic of Indonesia in Ghana, I wish to pledge my support to such a laudable initiative and assure all of you that my consulate will do everything possible anytime the opportunity avails itself to promote the development of the youth, which my passion is or has always been to. This can be done through educational scholarship, tourism development, investment, opportunity drives, skills training and development, as well as the acquisition of public service values and trade. I wish to once again sincerely thank Dr. Brian Ruben, one of the finest gentlemen Africa is proud to have, and I remember the first day when he called on me, and his team for their love and vision for the youth. This no doubt has led to a positive transformation of the lives of several thousands of the youth across the globe. Today, we have a lot of testimonies coming from the youth around the world because of Dr. Ryan Ruben's project. It is my fervent hope and prayer that you will continue to receive the needed support and encouragement to prosecute this positive agenda and initiative. It is also my expectation, Mr. Chairman, that the objectives of this Global Youth Summit will be realized at the end of the day. I wish to see this go on even if we are not alive in Africa. Long live the Brian Ruben organization, long live the Brian Ruben project, and long live the Global Youth Summit, and long live the youth of Africa. Long live Africa. Thank you.